Hi, boys and girls. This is Ms. Kathy. I'm so happy you've joined me today for another story just for you. Facts don't lie. You really believe that? Willie Teller felt his face turning red. It seemed as though everyone in the class was laughing at him, even Mr. Hunt. Now, class, Mr. Hunt said, if Willie chooses to, he can believe in the story of Noah's flood. But the truth is, scientific facts show that the world has existed for millions and millions of years, and that there was no such thing as a worldwide flood. Come on, Willie, Charles said. Why would you believe that Bible story when the facts say it's wrong? Facts don't lie. But because the Bible says so, Willie stammered. It says that God created the world and that there was a flood. It's in my Bible lesson this week. Do you believe in the Easter Bunny too? Someone said with a snicker. Mr. Hunt held up his hand. It's okay for Willie to believe what he chooses to, but class, you can see that if you don't stick with the scientific facts, any crazy idea might seem okay. Willie sank down as low as he could in his chair. At home that afternoon, Willie was trying to think of something to do instead of homework. Then he heard his dad's voice. Willie, come out here for a minute. Coming, he called back. But when he stuck his head out the back door, no one was there. Dad? No one answered. Maybe he's out in the front yard, Willie thought. He rolled to the front door. Dad? No one answered, but he heard noises by the driveway. As he rolled off the porch, the noises got louder. Arf! Arf! Then Willie heard his dad's voice. He was shouting, Coco, stop! Coco, come back! Willie's dog appeared around the side of the house. Coco hadn't noticed the funny gray mud he ran right through to get to Willie. Coco, get down, Willie said as the dog tried to jump up on his lap. What do you have all over your feet? Mr. Teller appeared around the corner. Wet cement, he said to answer Willie's question, and look at my new sidewalk. Willie rolled closer to see a new sidewalk stretching from the edge of the driveway around the back of the house. There were dog prints all the way across one section. This is what I wanted you to see, Mr. Teller said. When I heard you call from the back, I opened the gate on this side. Coco jumped out and did just what I was afraid he would do. Come here, you crazy mutt, so I can rinse off your feet. Dad, can you fix it? Mr. Teller led Coco back to the backyard. It's still soft enough to smooth over again, he said over his shoulder. A few minutes later, Willie watched as his dad smoothed out Coco's tracks with a trowel. Suddenly, Willie blurted out a question. Dad, is the story of Noah's flood just a fairy tale? He rushed on before his dad had a chance to answer. My teacher told us that scientific facts prove that the earth wasn't created like the Bible says, and that there was no worldwide flood. Mr. Teller finished smoothing and set the trowel down. Willie, I had these same questions when I was young. I did some studying and found some answers you might be interested in. You wait here and guard our cement. I want to find some things in the garage. Willie waited until his dad came out carrying a postcard and a rock. Look at this, Mr. Teller said, pointing to the postcard. It's a picture of the Grand Canyon in Arizona. It's a mile deep, so you can see the layers of rocks under the ground. Wow, Willie whispered. Are those striped rocks? Yes, Mr. Teller said. The rock layers were laid down like mud on the bottom of a lake. One layer on top of the other was left behind, like frosting on a chocolate cake. How? Many scientists think it took millions of years. Willie frowned. So the story of the flood isn't true? I didn't say that, his dad answered. Look at this. He pointed to a thick brown stripe of rock on the canyon wall. See the white stripe on top? See how the white stripe fits on top of the brown one, smooth and flat, like a white cover on a brown book? Yes. So? Mr. Teller tried to explain. Scientists think that the brown layer formed, then 15 million years went by before the white rock was laid on top of it. Are they right? Mr. Teller smiled. How long do you think we could keep this concrete nice and smooth if it stayed wet? Willie laughed. We couldn't even keep Coco out of it for 10 minutes. What if it were soft for a year? Could we keep it smooth? No way. Mr. Teller agreed. You're right, but think about those rock layers again. When the brown layer was laid down, it was soft for a while, and even after it was hard, rain and wind would be wearing it down to make it rough and unleveled. But scientists think it sat there for 15 million years, and it was still nice and smooth and level when the white layer was formed on top. That doesn't make sense, Willie said. It should have been worn down in lots of places by then. It makes a lot more sense to think that those two layers were laid down one right after the other when a big flood stirred up a lot of mud. That's right, Willie agreed, and that's just what Noah's flood would have done. So some of the scientific facts support the story from the Bible. Here's another scientific fact, Mr. Teller said, holding out the rock. I picked this up on top of a mountain. Willie looked at the rock carefully. Hey, this rock has seashells in it. It has to be from the ocean. Mr. Teller explained. When this rock's layer was formed, it was underwater. So either the mountain was covered with water or, like during Noah's flood, Willie interrupted. Or, Mr. Teller went on, that layer used to be at the bottom of the ocean, but it was pushed up to become a mountain. In fact, scientists have found water-formed rocks and shells on mountains in countries all over the world. You can even find them on Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world. So, Willie said, either water covered all the mountains or something must have turned this world inside out. Either way, this scientific fact helps prove the story of Noah's flood. Mr. Teller just nodded and smiled. Willie was thinking ahead. Dad, can I take the postcard and the rock to school tomorrow? Maybe I can teach my class something about scientific facts. After all, facts don't lie.
The story you have heard today is from the Shoebox Kids Bible Stories, written by Jerry D. Thomas and used with permission from the Pacific Press Publishing Association. If you're interested in any other books published by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, please visit AdventistBookCenter.com or call 1-800-765-6955.
This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.